roof of the gold sands is raised. Everyone here knows what that could mean to this football.
Good afternoon, Bournemouth fans. Hope you're doing well. Final score at the Riverside was Middlesbrough 1, AFC Bournemouth 1. You can't really say that it wasn't coming, can you? It was a performance where AFCB, we were largely out of sorts, really. We went 1-0 up through a deflected Solanke effort, and with Middlesbrough largely in the, well, they were playing pretty well in the second half, and they took a quick throw, and they got the ball into the box, and the equaliser came in from Marcus Brown. Maybe we should have gone 2-0 up just before that through Dom, but alas, we ended up 1-1. So, the HMS pissed the league, as we call it. It's temporarily docked. Hopefully, we'll be back for the next game. As you can see, I'm joined today in the studio with Tom Jordan, who's with me. Tom, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
It was a performance which was largely frustrating, I thought.
Yeah, I think frustrating is probably the word. We didn't play how we know we can play. Even when we got the goal, and I thought we might kick on. Didn't really seem like we were in control of the game. It felt like it was coming a little bit without them having real clear chances. I know Asmir come off the line for one really well. But yeah, it wasn't great, but I think not play very well, come out there, have a point. It's a tough place to go. It's not the end of the world. I'm glad we didn't lose it at the end, but a little bit frustrating because weren't as offensively effective as we have been in the last few games.
What do you think of the team lineup when you saw it? Was it about what you expected?
I'm surprised with Begovic in goal, personally. I mean, I know a few were saying it, but I kind of thought he's probably going to go anyway, so what's the point? But maybe that shows that he's going to stay. Obviously kept a clean sheet in the week. What else was chat? Gosling for Lewis. It didn't surprise me because Lewis started in the week. And surprised Brooks come in, but then that's because I didn't know the junior was injured. So that makes sense. But all in all, I understood the team. I thought it was the right selection.
Did the quality of Middlesbrough surprise you in any way, or do you think actually we made them look good by being poor? Is it just a mixture of the two?
Probably a mixture of the two. I think it's hard to tell at the moment because we're so early on. But I thought they looked good. I thought Blackburn looked good last week, and I think they won 5-0 today. So that shows that we underestimated our performance last week because they seem like a decent side. Middlesbrough looked good, but were we at our best? Definitely not. So it's probably a bit of both.
It seemed to me like we couldn't sort of control the ball up top for a lot of the game. A lot of misplaced passes. It was very scrappy. We didn't assert our dominance. It was a poor quality match, and it was a poor quality stream, wasn't it? Let's be fair. And for anyone that was watching on AFCB TV live, well done for putting up for that first 20, 25 minutes. In the end, they got rid of the commentary, but it was very robotic, very difficult to watch. But that was the same on and off the pitch. Although it was a moment of genius, could you call it, from Solanke, which helped us to take the lead. Just before that, David Brooks had a shot with his weaker foot that was palmed over the bar by the goalkeeper, and we got a bit of momentum, and we had a corner, Dan Juma, near post. It looked like it could have been something off the training ground.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was definitely a corner that's obviously been looked at, to potentially doing it. It paid off, yeah, a little bit of luck in there, but you've got to have that at times, and fair play to Don for trying it. Certainly looks like a striker with more confidence attempting that. Obviously, I'm sure to say, like you mentioned earlier, with the chance he had second half, could he have done a little bit better? Probably looks worse now that they scored at the end. Otherwise, probably wouldn't be talking about it as much. But he done what he had to do, and obviously it took a nice deflection. But I think it was a good corner routine, and I just wanted us to kick on from there, really. And I felt second half, we maybe were caught in two minds about protecting that lead, which we know as Bournemouth fans we're not very good at doing. We almost might as well go for the second. But yeah, we nearly got over the line, not quite.
We can see Morgan and Billy, who's standing by. We'll be bringing you in shortly. And remember, if you want to take part tonight, just grab some headphones and then head to afcbpodcast.com/take part. You just have to authenticate with YouTube and Facebook. And after that, you'll be straight in the room. We'll be on for about an hour trying to dissect that. And Dom Solanke, he could have made it 2-0 just before they equalised. And it was Rico's first real involvement of the game. He did really well to set him free. And space, just opened up for him, really. And it was almost one of those situations where the sort of unnatural striker that he is had way too much time to think about it. Yeah. And when you look at one of the replays, it was a shot that could have gone either side of the keeper, went straight out the keeper. Easy save.
Yeah, it's tough because I thought all his, like you say, Rico done well, and then I thought all his touches were good. He gave himself that space, done everything right, and then, he's just kind of, in the end, he's just hit it. difficult one. I think if he had slotted it into the corner and it had just gone wide, you would have said, "Oh, just hit that." It's a difficult one, and like I say, them scoring late means he's going to be looking at that. But I thought he done well in the game, considering he didn't have a lot of service, a lot of chances. I thought he worked hard, but yeah, it was a shame really. That would have been great for him if he had got that, and obviously we'd have been going home with the 3 points if that was the case. But yeah, shame.
A quick throw, Middlesbrough equalised, and we had chances at the end. I thought that we might have just been able to nick it. Lerma had a header, and we had a few corners that we were, trying to pepper in. But alas, 1-1, 1 point. How are you feeling after that?
Not too bad, I think, because of the fact that we know we can play better than that. We didn't play that well. I said to you that I think Middlesbrough is going to be a place where a lot of teams will take a point this season. And as frustrating as it was that we didn't hang on, we didn't play well and we haven't lost the game. I think let's not overdraw. I don't think we should get carried away when we win, and we also shouldn't overdramatise when we don't win. Blackburn and Middlesbrough first 2 games, 4 points. It's not too bad. We've had we're still wetting if we're going to do any business. We've had a few players in and out. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, there were definitely signs in there that were positive, but also a lot of things that we need to work on. I'm sure JT will get to the bottom of that. I feel like I think it showed that after they equalised, like you just said then, we then looked like we can nick one late. Yeah. Well, we never looked like that when we were 1-0 up, and that's almost because I felt like the mindset of the team was, we've got the goal, let's sit, and maybe we'll look at that going forward and think, now let's just kick on, because we're not good enough at holding it, so let's just kick on and try and get the second.
And we're not the only team that's dropped points today. Norwich 2-2 with Preston, and
I think Reading have gone top.
Yeah, Reading have gone top. So
my tip to go down. So
yeah, well, I said that Luton, in a piece for someone else, I can't remember who it is. I said Luton, Wickham, and Sheffield Wednesday were going to be the teams to go down. And Luton sat proud at the top of the table with Reading, and we are in 3rd place at the moment. So I mean, it's not the end of the world. It was our first, foray into playing football in front of 1,000 fans. What do you all make of that? Because the camera kept on panning to the fans as if they were moving or some kind of action. But I mean, they were dull shots for the director to pick out. I think he was just trying to make a point of them being in the ground. But they got a little bit vociferous, didn't they?
They did in the second half. I think the ref helped them. I did feel like they were going down an awful lot, and the ref was really just blowing a stop-start all the time, which was frustrating. And we did give away a few needless fouls as well, but there were a few where I thought it was almost like the crowd were getting on him and he was just giving them the odd foul. They weren't as loud as I thought in general, though. I mean, I just think now how much I miss going to football. Yeah. If I was in the crowd, I'd become mental, I think. So surprised at that. But yeah, like you say, point, and I think I said to you that first 3 games, Blackburn, Middlesbrough, Norwich, they're 3 tough games in this league. And if we can get 7 points out of it, I'll be well happy. And we're on course for that. We win the next game. So
brilliant. Tom Jordan, thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate it. Nice one. Are we going to do a hand? Yeah, it's one of them.
Cheers,
so that's Tom Jordan there live and in the flesh. And if you want to take part, of course, online, we're going to be here till about 6 o'clock tonight. Make sure you go to afcbpodcast.com/take part. We can see that John is waiting, as is Morgan and Billy as well. First person I'm going to bring in is Morgan Scott. Morgan, how are you, fella? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
What do you think of that?
You guys have summed it up perfectly within the first 8.5 minutes. Bournemouth, it was one of them scrappy games. It takes me back. Does anyone remember the game at Vitality last season against Burnley? When we had Mark and Atkinson down. Tom mentioned it there about the cheap fouls. Yeah, we just lost a lot of chances. Solanke, great prediction from me and Sam earlier in the week. But yeah, no, it's just we just have to give it away in the final few minutes, and it's a shame. But we're undefeated under Jason Tyndall. You got to think of the positives.
Yeah, you do. But it seems like there are a number of people that are looking at specific issues. So, for instance, Solanke missed 2 sitters. There's another one from Liam here who's saying right selection, formation was poor. Let's put it that way. Harry said not very good. Algard over in France there said only 59% of passes completed, very poor. Angus said Philip Billing killed the pace when he came on a bit, in my opinion. Mark Dean from Cherries Trust said seems Middlesbrough need to wear studs. The ones they're using cause them to constantly fall over continually. And you can see his point there because they kept on going over, didn't they? What I'm going to do is at this point bring in Billy and John as well. So firstly, Billy, how are you, fella? You all right?
Hi, first of all, I'd say thank you for having me on this first time. Obviously, big fan of this. So, love the work you do. Okay, so the game.
Yeah.
Interesting. It was a tough one to call. I thought that the start of the game, very balanced, nothing much in it in terms of possession-wise. Middlesbrough had a few shots in. Obviously, the stats now, 18 shots to 10. Come on, we've got to be having more chances. The goal itself, pretty simple. Solanke doing smarts there, doing really good stuff there. And I was just thinking, was it worth Billing actually playing? Because he didn't really bring anything. I mean, lanky legs, like I'm 6'3", and I know what it's like to be a really tall footballer. And come on, stick around like that, that's no.
Well,
it was literally a draw for life. Yeah. Go on.
I was watching the game with Tom, and it felt as though there was no dynamism in the middle of the park. And Dan Gosling and Jefferson Lerma are very hustly and bustly, but they're not the ones who will make those driving runs. And I thought that Lewis Cook could have made a difference if he was brought on, but he opted to sort of make a few changes throughout the game. And I was expecting Cook to be involved. He wasn't. The changes that he did end up making was Stacey off, Rico on, which I thought was pretty good. That set up the chance that where we should have made it 2-0 really. And then Dan Juma off and Philip Billing on, obviously trying to protect the lead at that point in time, but didn't entirely work. John, what were your thoughts on the game? You don't look very happy there.
Nah, it was kind of like what you've said already, really. I just thought it was a bit flat. Still happy to take a point, obviously, but I thought from the last two games we were going to come into this with a lot more. It just felt a bit flat. There wasn't really that drive. I didn't feel like after we got the goal was good. It was weird actually celebrating without any commentary. It felt. I don't know about you lads, but it kind of felt like we were in sort of no man's land. Just celebration felt a bit odd on that one.
I've got to say though, I mean, I preferred having no commentary to that.
Awful, the start,
awful robotic sound for 20. I think what they had was two audio. They had two audio streams. That one was 10 seconds behind the other, so it led to this real robotic sound, and it was absolutely dreadful.
It was horrid.
I'm sure I dread to. I didn't really look at Twitter much during the game, but I can imagine a lot of people are mentioning the R word because they probably want their money back for that. And the club were blaming ING who do the streams, so we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, Dom Solanke seems to score the unconventional goals, but when there are simple situations, he doesn't quite convert. And it was a goal where he got into a good position. He just got a touch on it.
Clear chance. I couldn't believe that. I know I said before he'll bury them, and now I'm not so sure. I don't know. It was such a clear chance, and just he went straight down the middle, didn't he? I think, and it was I wasn't particularly impressed, to be honest.
Dominic Solanke does score very strange goals. Remember his first goal against Luton, just the second one, where the one that did count, just trickles over the line. And he had the one against Leicester, just slowly goes into the bottom right-hand corner. And he needs to score.
They're not really decisive, are they? They're
not decisive.
Like decisive goals.
If he scores goals like the one Dan Juma had against Blackburn, he will be a star this season. And I know it's only 2 games in, but he really needs to just step up a little bit, just go from the outside the box, just take a shot, just have a go. David Brooks done it on his weaker foot. Just have a go, son.
Which players do you felt had a good game, Morgan, today?
I thought Brooks is, as I mentioned earlier in the week in our preview show for the game, I thought Brooks stood out again today. I thought he looked back to his best, if I'm honest. No one's mentioned it yet. What do people think about Begovic starting today? That was I went optimistic and said Will Dennis. Sam kind of overruled me, and we went with Travis. But then when I saw the team news at 2:00, and then Begovic came into the mix, it'd be interesting to see what people think of that.
Well, there were Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of situations, John, where Begovic was a little bit weaker with he was parrying shots where he probably should have claimed it. But when you look at that free kick that they had, I think it was a free kick anyway, it did swerve very much last minute, didn't it? And, they did score their disallowed goal, and I think they were both offside. However, there were a couple of other situations that made me think, oh, God, are we going back to the Begovic that we remember? What did you think of his performance on the whole, John?
Yeah, I think he was pretty consistent, other than obviously the goal they scored. Yeah, it was. I just think by that point they'd had so many chances, they were bound to get on the end of one of them. We just didn't respond in the best way. I just think we kind of were flat after that. I thought the substitution from Danjuma for Billing was a strange one, to be honest. Didn't really see much impact. I don't know what you thought about that, but I didn't see Billing really do much, to be honest. Like you said before, Morgan, Bambi on ice. I think, it was that again, really. Just kind of sliding and slipping all over the place and not really getting his legs anywhere.
That's interesting. I think that's interesting, and I think the reason I give Philip Billing a lot of stick is with being 6'5" myself. Although I'm not a pro footballer, just try and header a ball, try and do something. I'm the most lankiest guy. I'm the most lankiest guy in Bournemouth, and it's like he just week in, week out, every time So you look at Nathan Ake, never, probably one of the smallest defenders Bournemouth have ever had, and he's always getting up for headers. And you've got Philip Billing. He drives me nutty. I know Steve. I think Steve Henderson gave him a compliment on Twitter after his performance against Palace. But I thought, I think Bournemouth are going to go two ways in the midfield, and it's one surprise that I was quite concerned about is why Harry Arter was on the bench today. I thought he looked really, really good against Palace. People are going to argue saying he doesn't want to be here, but. No, to be honest with you, you either go with Lerma and Lewis Cook or Gofflin. And I know he started alongside Lerma, but normally he starts with Billing. But our midfield is always only working with two individuals. And I think that needs a bit more consistency, if I'm honest with you.
I think give some of the lads a chance from the Palace game. I think some of those boys, who are they? Like Oberfor? Is it Oberfor? Zamura?
Yeah, Nambi, yeah.
They say Arter. We did bring Surridge on, but I thought that was quite late.
I get
impact, really.
That's a really good point as well. I would give Surridge a go. Start him up front, just to give me a tongue twister when I come on here. But I think he should start. I think he should start against Man City and then potentially against Norwich. I think Solanke
seems to always make an impact.
I think Solanke will get there. I really do eventually, but from what we've seen of him so far, he's got to have JT on his back saying you're not always going to be in my match 11, because if we're going forward, we got another 47 games.
Yeah,
it's a long season, and to have someone like Solanke who should be scoring and then he isn't.
Good chance.
We need to try something different. And to be honest with you, that's only so many times. We're not talking about VAR tonight. We're talking about Solanke. So we can't keep having the same conversations week in, week out. If Josh King comes back in, I reckon he's off. But, we're seeing hope, Knox, I'm not coming back for pre-season. But we'll wait and see on what happens on that one. But something else has got to give. We need another striking option. We can't just rely on Solanke because he doesn't deliver.
I think there's
sorry.
Go on, John. Go on, John.
Is there no news on any signings? Because I've been trying to look and JT just sort of seems to say there's nothing yet, really.
I did hear.
Definitely need the strikers, don't we?
I did hear a couple of weeks ago there was just a little rumour about Dylan Phillips from Charlton as a replacement goalkeeper. But do we really need him? Probably not. No.
No, it's I certainly haven't heard anything.
A goal poacher. That's what we need.
There's a lot of rumours that are coming about, but obviously, none of them seem to be sort of coming to fruition. So I'm just looking at the stats here. Middlesbrough, 52% in terms of possession, 18 shots to our 10, 7 of them were on target. We had 5 on target. it felt to me like I'm just like thinking back through the chances now, and I know we talk about Dom's chance, but it felt like Middlesbrough had more chances like throughout that game, and especially like they had a couple of headers in the second half that went fortunately straight at Begovic in goal, but I don't know. It just felt as though we weren't creative as usual, and just we didn't have the expansiveness that we usually have, and no idea why Stanislas wasn't playing. Did anyone know why he wasn't selected, or did it say anywhere?
Hasn't been confirmed, but I did see something on Twitter that he's injured apparently, but that hasn't been confirmed by the club, so I'm not going to read too much into that.
Yeah. Well, as Ethan says on chat, poor today, but a point is a point. Yeah, very good shout. Right, we're going to bring in some more faces. John, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on, mate.
Cheers. Happy on the whole, but guess a point. At least we take a point.
Yeah, good call. You're slightly breaking up there, mate. And also Billy as well. Thank you very much for coming on and making your debut. Appreciate it.
Cheers, bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
all the
mate.
best. We've got Max and Keith Thomas standing by. Morgan, I'll keep you on for a little bit longer. And Keith Thomas over there in Milford-on-Sea. How are you, sir?
Very good, Sam. Very good. I hope everyone's okay. How's the point today?
Yeah, what do you think? How are you feeling about it?
Complacent. We were really, really complacent today. Our passing accuracy at 59% is dire. And that was way down on what we've been doing, which is well over 70%. And that's a lack of care on the ball. And that's a lack of concentration. Brooksy, apart from his one effort, was anonymous. Gozza, Smithy, Kelly, all misplacing passes. And that has got to sharpen up a lot. They were a really poor side, Boro. Really poor.
But does it concern you that if players like Brooks aren't having a good game or he gets injured, we actually have to change the formation in order to bring other players in? Because we are short in terms of wingers, haven't we? We've got nothing more. Of course, like Stanislas, he wasn't in the side today, but we basically need a actual formation change to bring in a person off the bench.
Yeah, at the moment we certainly need to do that. We played narrow anyway today, and we should have been playing big up the pitch when we were going on the offensive, and then being small when we were on the defensive. We did neither of that, so that's a concern going forward. I actually thought Solanke had a decent game. He looked the only creative player on there, and he got a goal. Okay, he missed a couple of sitters, but they're chances. But everyone else was really just off the mark, apart from Mepham and Cook as well at the back. I thought they were quite decent. Assemblonga was really giving us problems, and hence why Mepham picked up the yellow card. But it's just a lack of care. And that's what really worried me today is like, why aren't we looking after the ball? That's the basics of football there. Look after the ball, keep the possession, and then go expansive, as you said, Sam, when going forward. And that didn't seem to happen today. And I don't know why that was. Maybe we thought we'd done too well at Palace and too well against Blackburn and thought we could stroll this one today. And this is a team who are lost 2 on the bounce now. So, that's the mentality has to be worked on, and certainly our passing has to be improved a hell of a lot.
Agreed. Right, we got Chase who's joining us very, very shortly, but Vin is coming on. He's been on before, a very young Cherries fan, hasn't got any picture, but will certainly be able to hear him. Vin, how are you doing, buddy?
You right, mate?
Yeah, very good. What do you think of that today?
I mean, like you said, no real care shown in that performance like we did against, Blackburn and Palace and West Ham. But, Solanke, I think we do need to invest in a new striker, definitely. Because I don't think Solanke, he'll probably score us about 8 goals this season if he keeps missing those clear-cut chances. But a point's a point, like he said. If we want to try and get promotion, we need to, scrape these points against Boro and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, where else do you think we need to be strengthening ideally? Because we haven't made any new signings, and up front has always been an issue. And once we have got players injured, we're sort of scrabbling around for players. I mean, if Sam Surridge can't come in, then you're hoping that we've got other players fit. It could be scary once we start having an injury crisis. And being Bournemouth, we always have one. Where else do you think we need to strengthen, Vin?
I think we need like a very, very good passing midfielder, like someone that can just hold the game, because we have Billing, but he's more of a defensive midfielder than an attacking one. And I think if we get like an attacking cam, from maybe for like £10 million, I think that would be a very good investment by the board and by JT.
Do you feel that Middlesbrough were a good opposition today, or did we make them look good at times?
I think we definitely made them look good. They're a crap team. They deserve to get relegated. They play crap football. Asamba being got longer is so overrated. It's unbelievable. But it's like we made them seem good today because how bad our passing was, how bad our attacking formation was. It's like we had no clear-cut striker in some situations. Solanke was coming too far deep, and we had no one up there when we got the ball in the middle of the park to spread it to.
Yeah, sorry, Keith.
Yeah, just to come in on that, Solanke's a number 10. He's not an out-and-out striker. He's a number 10, and I agree with the lad. And Brooks is a number 10. So I would have gone with Surridge today and give us a little bit of bite up front. I like the way that Solanke looks up. I like the way he wants to play people in. And, he got a goal today. Let's not forget that. We seem to be piling in on him, but he got us the goal where it didn't look as though it was coming otherwise. So, but he's if we've got to create space for the lad. And that means getting up there getting up at opposition fullbacks, pulling them out of shape, and then he's got space and time to get the ball away. He's not an out and out striker, but he will play people in, and that's where we really need to work on is understanding that is his game, and he plays in a 3, not in a 2 either.
Vin, who do you think had a good game, today for AFC Bournemouth?
Well, it's tough to pick because I feel like none of us really had an outstanding game. Solanke got us the goal when it really didn't seem like we were creating absolutely anything. I feel like Brooks played decent today. Down the wing. I think he's going to be. If we keep him, that's a very important thing for us to get promoted because he's so much talent, and if we can keep him and then get promoted back to the Premier League, we can sell him for like 30 million and get a new young player. So it's like investment is very clear because coronavirus has stopped us from investing in a lot of players. So if we can keep these players until like next season when we have a little bit more money and we're hopefully in the Premier League, we can sell them for double their value and then invest in like a new young player.
In terms of what you would do if you were Jason Tindall ahead of Man City on Thursday, who would you be resting, and who ideally would you like to be starting for the Carabao Cup third round match, Vin?
I think we play 2 up front, Sturridge and Solanke, because I think Solanke can come a little bit more deep then and playing like number 10 role, while then Sturridge can be the main attacker that we can thread the ball to.
Brilliant. Vin, appreciate having you on, mate. Thank you very much. And make sure you come again. A lot of people on the chat here, I don't know if you can see it because we haven't got your video. However, people like JJH have been saying, Vin talking more sense than most of the people on this panel right now.
Sam, before you let him go, can I just say maybe he should go and speak to Jason Tindall about getting some more signings in? He's just spoke for a couple of minutes and everything he said has been immaculate. So fair play to you and thanks for coming on, Vin.
All right, cheers, mate. See you, lads.
Cheers, lads. Thank you very much, Vin. Top man there. And what we'll do is we'll bring in Chase. We've got Addy standing by as well, plus a familiar face, by the way, of AFCB's version of Gary Neville. But Chase, how are you, mate?
What's going on? I haven't seen you. I haven't talked to you since we were in the concourse at Turf Moor last year.
Yeah, no, I was about to say in that horror show at Burnley.
Yeah.
First, before we go, You got a new podcast, Chase. Can you tell us all about it?
Oh yeah. I just started it last week. It's called Cherries Stateside, and I just decided to put my thoughts out there. I don't know if anybody's going to listen, but put my thoughts out there, and just maybe do a weekly thing, and after each match, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll go back and find your tweet and retweet it so everyone can have a listen to that. So it's Cherries Stateside, and if you want to contribute to that, do get in touch with Chase. I'll do a retweet, and then you can send them a message to talk all things AFCB. But in terms of today's performance, Chase, what are you thinking? How are you feeling?
I agree with the what Vin said about the passing. It was either too cute or too ambitious. Where we were kind of in two minds whether or not to play long balls forward or kind of trying to pin little balls out to try to come out from being hemmed in, and it just seemed like we weren't able to either keep possession either. So I agree with Keith on Solanke. I thought he actually had a decent game. I think. Other than he missed the clear-cut chance in the second half, but he did score the goal. And other than that, I think the Brooks chance was the only one that I can remember where we actually had a clear chance on goal. Which that was a great save by Bettinelli, but that was about it. I think I count 3 chances, one being the goal.
Yeah.
I think and Jefferson Lerma had a header, and we got in certain good situations, but I've got to say for the first half it just seemed like our touch was so poor. It was almost like a hot potato at times, and also we were putting the ball into channels, and we didn't really do that much against West Ham, where it was a match where we played that same formation, and we played through the lines and we played between the lines, but with that in the first half especially, I lost count at the number of these kind of almost aimless through balls that we were playing, and whenever it did reach either Dom or Danjuma or Brooksy, we never held the ball up anyway. It wasn't an amazing first half, Keith, was it?
No, you're spot on there, Sam. It's a lack of care of the ball. You see Kelly time and again play a loose pass, puts us in trouble. You saw Smithy, he's really struggling in this inside fullback role at the moment. He's struggling there, and we looked a little bit more balanced with Rico coming on and then Smithy going to the right. But where was the overloads today? Where was the Stacey coming in from deep to get the overloads? Where was that? And we weren't patient with it either. We seemed to be rushing it. We seem to think that we've got to get, really rushing the play and not keeping possession, as Chase has said. Possession is part of this formation, and if we're going to give the ball away each time, then we are going to be in trouble. It doesn't matter what formation you play. If you're giving the ball away and you're not looking after the ball, then you're inviting all amounts of problems going forward. And maybe slow down the tempo a little bit and be careful when we're looking for our passes forward. I'm not saying square ball, but this is why we should be playing triangles. That's what it's meant to do. But time and again, you saw the loose passes was just shocking.
Yeah. And
a decent team who, are going to come right onto that, and we're going to be unstuck. And that's so unlike us as what we've been like since West Ham. Today was just not the right mindset, and that not worries me. We're going to have games like that, but we've got to be a bit more at it and a bit more aggressive on the press as well. We weren't pressing very well today either, so there's a lot of things.
4 points, third in the league. Morgan, are we moaning too much, or do you think it's worthy of being sort of like almost over analytical about this? Because Middlesbrough were there for the taking today, weren't they? And we just didn't do enough.
Yeah, I don't think we should read too much into the situation. As we mentioned earlier in the week, Warnock wasn't on the sideline. He got tested for COVID going into the game. So maybe that kind of distracted some people. They're professionals. It shouldn't, but everyone's human. Third in the table. 4 points, as you said, Sam. I think, we shouldn't be too disappointed. I noticed a hell of a lot of improvement. This isn't a criticism to Eddie, but since JT's been in the mix, I noticed a lot more. I think the football's definitely a lot better. There's a lot of improvements to go. And I think with rebuilding our squad, I do still think we need maybe 1 or 2 players to come in. Now, people can main or debate where they want them to come in. That's up to them. But they do need to come in soon rather than later. And hopefully within the next, 48 hours or so, maybe over the weekend, Bournemouth will have a weekend story. Josh Kim will get announced of going on a medical, going to a club, because I think the longer this story kind of goes on with Josh Kim, it takes away the focus for some of the other strikers that we got. I think Sam Sturridge should get his chance ahead of Solanke, and that's not being harsh on Solanke. It's just I'm fed up of speaking how negative about his performance all the time. But to kind of reiterate what I said, I think at this stage, we're getting into a game against Man City in the EFL Cup on Thursday, and then obviously the Norwich game, due to disappointment, won't be on Sky, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, hopefully, Bournemouth aren't doing too bad, so hopefully we'll be going up to the Prem pretty soon.
I hope so. Morgan, thank you very much.
Thank you,
I'm
mate.
bringing another face. Appreciate you. Yeah, no worries at all. Appreciate you coming on in. And what we're going to do is bring in a familiar face, by the way, of AFC Bournemouth's version of Gary Neville, Kirk Tovey. Kirk, how are you today? 1-1 against Boro. I don't know what you said on your Super 6, but I said 3-1 to Bournemouth. What did you go for?
I said 2-1. And sorry, I'm late. I was just welcoming Rian Brewster on the Herne Airport runway. So sorry for the delay. No, I went for 2-1.
Thoughts of that?
I think we got an insight into what our season might be like, especially with this 3-4-3 formation. Like we said, it's not always going to be perfect, and it's not always going to be. We're not always going to be able to play it like we want to play it, and I think that highlighted today. I thought the tempo was set by Middlesbrough, and they were comfortable with that. We were poor in possession, like Keith and Tom have said, and yourself. We've seen Dom Solanke, and the thing we've highlighted potentially what type of striker he's going to see today. So I think this has highlighted a lot of what we've already discussed and potentially thought in today's game.
Was it worrying you, the amount of bookings that we were picking up in the second half? I don't know if you call them needless fouls, but we seemed to be conceding a lot of free kicks, and I was starting to get worried actually when Chris Mepham was going in for a few challenges. I thought, hang on a sec, here we go. They took Jack Stacey off. I think that was, not even sure that was tactical. I think that was more of a precaution. But when that did happen, the overloads that we were lacking, that Keith was talking about, they happened. And then Rico, did overlap, and then he got that through ball that basically set up Dom Solanke's chance. What do you think of the decisions that were being made today by JT Kirk? Were you on board with most of the changes that he made, or did any of them question? Did you question any of them?
I mean, Brooks in because it looks like Stanislas was injured, so fair enough. I mean, if Stanislas was on the bench, I probably would have questioned that. But then again, it's Brooks, so it's not like it's a weak player. The Travers one's a bit strange for me. Not that Begovic really done anything wrong today. He parried a few. But I just think for Travers' career, we really need to give him an opportunity to have a run in the team, because you're never going to find out whether he's going to be a top goalkeeper unless he gets a good run at it. And he only ever seems to get a game here, then he's out, then he comes back in, and we're never going to find out. So, but again, I wasn't concerned that Begovic was there. We know he's an okay goalkeeper. He's played at the top level for long enough. But I just felt for a bit for Travers, because I think he needs that confidence and needs to have a run of games.
Which players stood out for you today, Kurt? Do you think anyone had a decent game?
No, not really. I mean, Kelly off the ball, I thought was quite comfortable at times. I don't think anyone was brilliant on the ball today. I think we were just frustrated. The formation was frustrating because we didn't play it like we previously have at West Ham and against Blackburn. And we weren't that expansive attacking front three this time. So it was a bit frustrating. And Solanke, unfortunately, scores a miraculous goal. And then when he's laid through and you think, right, hit a corner, far corner, please, he hits it straight down the goalie's throat. And that's just, for me, what Solanke is. least he hit it, because I thought he was going to take another touch, because sometimes he overdoes it. But I just felt the players were a bit frustrated by the formation today, and that's what I mean. The 3-4-3 is not always going to work, and we sort of play to Boro's tempo, in my opinion.
When you were a footballer, Kirk, well, I mean, of course, you still play football now, but what's your position?
My position?
Yeah,
left midfield.
Left midfield.
I'm a right footer, but Danjuma, not as good.
Do you feel as though Dom Solanke should have taken just one extra touch just to open up a little bit, because he wasn't exactly square on, but he could have created more of an angle that maybe would have made the keeper commit a little bit, or he had space to kind of run in and almost approach the keeper one-on-one, where he could have dinked it or sort of maybe gone round him. Do you think he took that shot too early?
I don't think he took the shot too early. I mean, I've been critical of him in last season when he just wants to take another touch when actually he could have got the shot away. I mean, if I revert back to strikers in their prime like Defoe, I'll revert to Harry Kane. I think they would have hit that shot at the same time. The difference is they're ruthless and they would have hit the corner. They're aiming for the post. They're almost aiming for the post or just inside. He's just looking to hit the target, and that lands straight down the keeper's throat on his foot, middle of the goal. That is not a natural goal scorer, in my opinion. I think he will score his goals. I've said this. I think he'll score his 10, 15 goals. But if he was scoring goals like the chances he had today, he scores 20 goals, and that's the difference. And that's why I feel we are short of a striker just to get us over the line today for that win. I mean, let's put it in perspective. We've never won at the Riverside. We'll take a point away from home any day of the week. It just feels like 2 points lost because we didn't sort of jump all over Boro when we were 1-0 up. Do you know what I mean? We didn't capitalise on that. And when we have this 3-4-3 and the way we played it last week, for me, we need to score 2 or 3 goals, then manage the game. And we were trying to manage it at 1-0. And I don't know a time when we've ever been able to manage a 1-0 even under Eddie Howe. So yeah.
Chase, who do you think should be rested ahead of the Man City game? And do you think it's a case that we need to just have that nice blend that we had against Palace in the second round, or do you think it's a case whereby we know we're going to lose it, let's blood more of the youth, like maybe Kilkenny, of course, off a ball played, Anthony, etc., Zamora? What do you think should be in JT's mind, given the fact that only a few days later on the Sunday we're playing Norwich in that rearranged fixture? Do you think it should be a case of having that blend again?
So I think you're already seeing some depth issues, because I wouldn't have. There was a couple of pieces we brought on today that I probably played on Tuesday that I wouldn't have started. I'm trying to think now. I'm blanking. But for Man City. I honestly wouldn't play, because what are our chances realistically against Man City? I'm thinking, why not give Jaden Anthony a run out, just have him play the whole game? You played Surridge all game on Tuesday, and you played Jack Stacey. Maybe that was why he was brought off earlier in the game. But Man City, I mean, I would love to give it a run out, but I think if you play like Ofabor or Zamora, you play a lot of the youngsters, guys that maybe sat on the bench, maybe we'll see Stanislas come back. Hopefully that injury isn't too serious, but I wouldn't really place a lot of seriousness into that game, because I think we're already starting to see maybe if we hadn't played so many on Tuesday that would have started regularly today, maybe you would have had more continuity today and wouldn't have seen maybe so many issues. So I think Man City is going to be a game that I wouldn't place a whole lot of importance in, because you do have Norwich on Sunday, just to be honest.
Do you think this is the match where we might see Josh King maybe, Keith, given the fact that he needs to get his fitness up, or do you think he'll be rested and maybe he'll come back firing for the game after that? Or do you think it's the ideal chance to see where he's at in terms of his fitness, because you're testing him against a decent side? Why not?
Yes, that's an interesting point to take. I was interested in what JT said yesterday. I think this is slightly different from what we had with Fraser. The ball is in his agent's court and his court. If he wants to move, he's going to play regularly. And at the moment, he's behind Surridge. So it's up to him in his aptitude in the training and what he does going forward, because his career is going to take a path either way. So he has an opportunity against Man City, put himself in the, if he wants to go, he can put himself on the to sell, on the market. But nobody's coming in for him. It's not like they're queuing up at the moment. So big choices for him to make, and I thought it's good that the club has actually put the emphasis on him rather than what we did with Fraser and look as though we need you and what have you. He's got some big choices to make in his career going forward, and Man City might be the game, but at the moment he's really going to be lacking in fitness, and it'd be interesting to see what his attitude's all about. So it's up to him. It's not up to the club. We've said he can go, but it's up to him now and what he wants to do with the career. And he's got to be a big boy and stop sulking and go out there and start putting yourself out on the market. That's my attitude towards it anyway.
A lot of players have been, a lot of fans have been saying that we need players in certain positions, and some people say we need a bit of defensive strength as well. Possibly, Kirk, can you deconstruct that goal that Boro scored today? Because where can you place the blame if we are going to, or was it just a bit of genius on their part? Because we seem to be reorganising ourselves. They took this quick throw, we were miles away from it, and to be fair. It was great delivery into the box, wasn't it? And I think he may have got a touch or bounced, and then header from Marcus Brown at the far post. I only just saw part of it because I think they were showing a replay at the time. They just cut back just in time to see the ball hit the back of the net. But whereabouts can you place the blame if we are going to for Middlesbrough's equaliser today?
Yeah, spot on. I think the ball coming in the box too easy. The throw-in was quickly thrown to Paddy McNair. He had time to collect the ball, turn, get his head up, and deliver a decent ball in the box. Once it's in the mix there between the goalkeeper and the defence, you're sort of at the striker's mercy. But letting that ball come in as easy as it did and not closing down the cross in any shape or form, for me, was the result of us conceding that goal. And although I said this morning, I don't ever feared that Middlesbrough would look like they were going to score a goal. What more concerned me is I never feel that we're going to keep a clean sheet. So that's why I was always on edge that when we didn't have the second goal.
Does it worry you that we've had a couple of really difficult performances, really, in terms of our opposition against Middlesbrough, who didn't exactly finish well last season, and then Blackburn as well? We haven't even played top 12, top half sides yet. And we're still having these ding-dongs, really. I mean, Blackburn were unfortunate not to get something out of that, really. I always felt as though we had more to give during that game, and they scored to make it 3-2. God knows whether it was actually onside or not. Thankfully, it wasn't. We made it 3-2. And now we've had a game against a Boro side that, whilst technically player for player, they were probably poorer as a team, they did all right, and they manufactured a few chances where arguably they could have even won the game. Is that a concern ahead of playing the teams that we know have got quality, like Brentford, of course, Norwich to come, Watford, sides like that?
Yeah, it's just a shame that we didn't come out the box. We were just happy they sort of set the tempo, as I said, and we just adapted to that, and we thought we'd just try and hit them where we could. Where I felt the Blackburn game, we were more on we're at home, but we were on the front foot and we were just looking to score goals. Yes, and then we got up, and then it was, the game finished 3-2. But, today, as I said, if we're not going to play on the front foot using that top three, the three attackers, whoever they're going to be, then maybe we need to change the formation. Because as I said, it's not going to work for every player in this squad. That's why I was a bit shocked with Goslin in there with Lerma, because I don't think the 3-4-3 suits him. Because you're almost asking Goslin to do a bit of a defensive duty, and that's not his game. And that's why I feel if you're going to have Goslin in there, maybe you go for a different formation to get three centre midfielders in there so you can play Goslin more higher up. That's why I was probably a bit shocked that Lewis Cook wasn't in with Lerma. So we just didn't. I think we set up like we set up against Blackburn, but we didn't chase the game or start the game like we did against Blackburn, and that's where I think we come unstuck.
So I've just had a comment, by the way, from Chris Hubble saying, how is the Super 6 League? Of course, we're running our own league this season. I'm going to show you exactly where we're at now. And, well, these were my predictions for today. So, yeah, I went for a Leeds 3-1. I mean, what did I get today? 6 measly points. I said the Brentford would win 2-0. That's pretty close. I thought the Norwich result was a bit of a surprise, them conceding 2 at home to Preston. That was 2-2. Yeah. I thought that Watford would pick up a result against Wednesday. That was a 0-0. So all of the teams that have got relegated are all sat on 4 points at the moment. And if you're wanting to know the league, 170 people in our back of the net league. I dread to see. I don't want to see where I am. Oh, I'm 91st. I'm 91st. So I'm not even in the top half of the table there. But congratulations to Alessandro Linford, who is currently top on 23 points there. Harry Hurst on 22nd. Naomi Jenkins, consistent high scorer there on 21. If you want to join the league, you still can. Just go to afcbpodcast.com/super6, and there's still time to get involved, because there's a lot of people that actually joined on week 2 and they're actually outscoring me already. So yeah, congratulations for that. So that is where you're at. If you want to check the league, just log on to our app and you can see where you're at. Right, we're going to do about another 10 minutes on this. So last call, if anyone else wants to come online on the chat, we're going to just leave it as an hour today. Just go to afcbpodcast.com/take part. All one word, and then we'll get you on straight away. Closing thoughts then, Chase. Leave us with some optimism ahead of the important league fixture versus Norwich next weekend.
I was going to say those results kind of underscore how difficult this league's going to be. I think it's going to be a bit of an adjustment period. I don't think we're going to have the time and space that we usually did, maybe in the Premier League against maybe the lower half of the table, and teams like Middlesbrough, and you saw Blackburn last week. You know, they're gonna close you down. They're gonna get in your face. It's gonna be scrappy, and it's gonna be tough. But I honestly, I think if we work out the kinks and we start playing our style, maybe like Kirk said, have a little more energy to start the game instead of allowing them to set the tempo. You set the tempo, and obviously, I don't know if we're gonna be able to play our particular brand of football every week, because it seems like we try to play out from the back or put the ball on the floor and pass. It just seems to be we're either not fast enough, we're having a bit of an adjustment period playing our particular style. But if we keep working on it, I think I like the 3-4-3. I honestly do like that formation. I like playing with wing backs. But I honestly think if we continue to work at it, I think Norwich is going to be a tough game. And I honestly, like I said, I don't want to place a whole lot of importance into Man City. I'm glad we won against Palace. That was a fun game to win. But I would start the youngsters, give them a run out, give them a bit of time, and then let's focus on Norwich next Sunday.
Chase, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on, and check out our Twitter streams. We'll retweet the Cherries Stateside podcast. Do give it a listen for an AFC Bournemouth view from Stateside. Thank you very much, Chase.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. And Mr. Tiggs is also here as well. How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Good. On the whole, felt as though we should have got 3 points there, really. But it was coming, wasn't it? That equaliser was coming, and probably well deserved, really, on the balance of play. I mean, if you look at the stats, you could probably argue that we were maybe lucky to get that 1-1. But I think on the course of play, probably about right.
Yeah, probably about right. I mean, if I was a Middlesbrough fan, I'd be thinking they had enough chances to beat us. They had quite a few shots from a distance as well, and they're not the first team to have done that against us. I don't know if that's a championship thing, but I'm seeing a lot more of that than we were in the Premier League. Have people scouted us and think that that's a way to score a goal, or is it we just leave too much space in terms of defenders leaving a path through?
You were watching a little bit of the. I think you, me, and Paul Kenwood were watching a little bit of the Coventry v QPR match last night, and we were just commenting on how quick and how fast paced it all is. It's almost frenetic, but they seem to have a lot better ball retention and ball control that we had, arguably today in what seemed like a slower game. What do you think of that game? Because it was a bit sort of end to end, wasn't it? I think Cov ended up winning 3-2, but it was one of those kind of harem scarum games that's really good for the neutral, and you get the feeling that the Championship, that's what it's all about, and we could be in for a bumpy ride this season.
Keith found I was talking to Keith on Twitter about this earlier in the week, weren't we, Keith? And there's quite a lot of articles out there, oddly, talking about how it's changed in the last 5 years. Would have to be the last 5 years, wouldn't it? While we weren't there, but how that league has become very different to the one that we left. And there aren't as many long balls being just dropped in. People do play very fast, short passing game, and the formation changes, because that was the thing we were talking about at the beginning of the season. Will other teams play three at the back? Yeah, they do. This shows the ignorance on my part. I haven't been following the Championship since we've been in the Premier League, but the league seems a lot closer to an elite league than I remember it.
It's almost becoming the Premier League 2, isn't it? With the actual quality of, the historical names, that are in there.
Yeah.
Kirk, Man City then, what would you be doing on Thursday night? Will you be watching it?
Oh, yeah, I'll attempt to. It's one of those, isn't it? It's the same with the Palace, isn't it? It's sort of like you don't want to lose because you want to keep the momentum going of not losing, although we only drew today. But again, really the focus is on Norwich for me. If we can get some confidence into some of the youngsters, you can't knock that at all. So, but I wouldn't be putting out too many strong players, in my opinion. I should, just in case we fall short against Norwich, for picking a squad. So, but if we can get Kilkenny out there, Namdi again, I thought he did well the other night. Was it Jayden as well? Anthony Jayden? If we can get some of these youngsters out there, I think, that would be good for us.
Well, we'll end on a positive. We're going to end, we keep it under an hour this week. So let's go through and find a positive out of that performance today. So I'll start with Keith Thomas over there on the top right of the screen. Give me a positive of what you felt went okay today for Bournemouth.
I actually thought the back three again defensively were okay. So Cookie had a good game again today. He made some key tackles. So I have a lot of faith in Solanke. Maybe not as a goal scorer, but he's going to be our creative man. And I thought he was the decent. For me, he was my man of the match. So, it wasn't terrible, and we're unbeaten, and that's really key. Yeah,
Kirk.
We didn't lose because the last time we went to the Riverside in the league, we did. So we didn't lose. We've as another point on the board. From a positive point of view for Graham Jones, JT and Perch, has given them a lot to think about in where this 3-4-3 way of playing might not work all the time, and it'll give them some homework to do, and maybe we'll have to adapt at certain games away to play differently, and maybe put three in centre midfield and not play the two. For me, I like this formation, but I think we'll play it more at home than we will away as the season goes on. So some really good information that they can take from today's game without losing the game, if that's a positive.
Just to jump in there on that, I did put up a formation this week on Twitter that we might have been better to go 4-3-3, and I didn't. I think the difficulty what we had today was Warnock going to stick with his three at the back, or would he have gone to his preferred 4-2-3-1? So there was a little bit of guessing games in there. So got a point out of that. So it's not so bad.
The one I feel sorry for is Rico, because I think you're going to struggle to get him in a 3-4-3 because JT's not going to bench Smith. So almost Smith gets that left position because you want to play Stacey, because he's probably our progressive player, one of our progressive players in this team. So Rico's the one that's going to miss out in this formation, and that's where the difficulty is going to be. But it's a long season, and that's why I say we're not going to play this way every week. But for me, Rico is a sort of earned his spot last year because he was one of our better players. So I feel a bit sorry for him, but he'll get plenty of opportunities, I'm sure.
Yeah, certainly. And Tiggs, I know your dinner is 60 seconds away from
right.
being ready, so we will get your final positive thought in quickly now as well.
Well, you know, I'm going to follow on from both points then. I'm going to follow on from the Rico point that you just made there, Kirk. When he came on, he made a great pass that almost got us a goal. So we've got strength on our bench, which, you know, we haven't always had. And also, if you win all your home games and you draw all your away games, that's championship winning form, surely. Just about.
Brilliant. Yeah, very good point. And I've got a positive as well. Man United are losing at home to Crystal Palace. Mr. Tiggs, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Enjoy your dinner. Well deserved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I find it very difficult to come up with a positive when we have basically lost 3 points. And I was going to say it was great to see that players like Jefferson Lerma actually managed to not get a booking, which, you know, given the fact that like lots of other, I mean, Chris Mepham got one, Jack Stacey, and it felt like we got another one, but no, you know, no booking for Jefferson Lerma. But from my point of view, I just want to reiterate what he said in terms of Dom Solanke. I know it was fairly scrappy in terms of the fact that it got a deflection, but he got into the right position. He obviously is getting into some good positions to have these chances. I'm a bit nervous about the fact that, you know, these kind of one-on-one chances, he kind of fluffs his line quite a bit. And I feel as though he is a, you know, confident striker, but maybe that one goal, he can take the positives out of being on the score sheet and take it on into the next game. You never know. But I feel as though he needs a bit of competition. And at the moment, he hasn't really got any. So maybe Surridge can start against Man City, you know, score a hat-trick. We can go through the next round, whatever. Probably not going to happen. But anyway, so yeah, that's my positive. Keith Thomas, thank you very much for coming on, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kirk. You take
Cheers,
care now,
Keith.
boys.
See you later.
See you later, boys.
Cheers, mate. And also Kirk Tovey, AFC Bournemouth version of Gary Neville. Really appreciate you being on, mate.
Cheers. Thanks, Sam.
Okay, so there we go. Cherries draw with Middlesbrough. Remember the podcast, it's downloadable on your app. Just go to afcbpodcast.com to be able to download it and get all the links, or just search for us on your podcast app. Plus the video segment as well is always on the YouTube too. I feel as though we've dropped the chance of winning 3 points, but maybe all in all, it was a good 1 point to get. Let us know what you think in the comments of this, and we'll see you very soon for the next free-for-all. We're not going to do one after Man City. However, next Sunday after Norwich City, we will do. Sadly, we've all got to pay for it. It's no longer on Sky. Therefore, you were going to get a voucher. You're not anymore. But hey, you know, given the audio streams today, maybe we'll all get a freebie. Wink, wink. Who knows? We'll see you in the next video. Got the Cherries.